Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. I have a situation here. A gentleman had called me from overseas a few weeks ago and we had spoken. He had a situation that he needed to be dealt with and he wanted me to hear it. And as you know, this channel is about being a voice for the voiceless. Once you haven't got a voice, this is where you come to actually have a voice, because I want this country to run better. I need Jamaican citizens to be more empowered to deal with issues, and therefore this gentleman has turned to me to see if I could help. He is a former police officer and he resigned the force after about 15 years. But from the day he resigned until now, 5 years ago, he has not gotten a single penny of anything that was due to him for all those years he had worked. Nothing, nada, zero. This gentleman had tried on many occasions, many occasions, to see what is going on, and to this blessed day, nothing. But before I even comment on this, I am going to let this man tell you his story. In his own words, in his own voice. Listen to this.
Greetings to our advisor. I'm a former member of the JCF. I served 15 years, ending 2020. Prior to resigning, I followed protocol which asks members to submit their intent for resignation 6 months prior to the date you intend to leave. I did that. Then I followed through on vacation leave. Subsequently, resignation. After resigning, prior to resigning, I submitted all my government issued properties, and those were confirmed. I also handed over anything I was issued during my service to the JCF and to my admin office. I did all my paperwork as best as I could, and I left. While I was on leave, I got a document from registry with requirements for like my account number and years served, stuff like that, just to submit for my remuneration package to be prepared. And that has been since December 2020. I have made several attempts to get at least my payment, and the attempts I've made have been futile. I have been contacting the finance department. At one point I was told I need to talk to audit, and on several occasions, maybe 5-6 times, I have heard that my file came back for payment and went back to audit because they either found inconsistencies in the report, and the last time I heard, they found that I was owed vacation leave. There are several payments I am owed, to include detective allowance, retroactive, a lump sum payment, and also several other increments that I should have gotten during my service, which all this time I've been calling, no one can confirm what these are. So I have no idea what I'm expecting to get or expected to get, and there's no one person I can reach out to in this department to really get something of substance to work with. I have been assisted a few times by random persons who would hear my situation when I call, and they would promise to help. They would try, but it would just not lead to anything. substantial where I can rely on to say this is when I'm gonna get paid or anything. The customer service in some of the instances have not been good. Sometimes when you call, people refuse to give you their names and other issues. But the bottom line is, I have no idea when I'm going to be paid because the files seem to be going in, out of the audit department and the finance department, which I think is one and the same, but maybe one just has different responsibilities to overlook the overall department and the payments that are supposed to be sent out to members. It is very disheartening that after serving so long, getting your remuneration package seem as if you have to be fighting all over again for it. And I really believe with 6 months before resigning a year after, and having resigned 4 years now, I really believe for them to say they don't know when payment will be made is really disappointing. And I really believe if I was not calling to check up on my file, possibly it would have gone to file 13. So I'm just humbly asking for your help, sir, in trying to remedy the situation as best as you can, to use your platform, transcribe my voice note, to use information and bits of it to kind of ruffle some feathers so that the government will know that you have served, you have risked your life, you have sacrificed your family, your several other things that we could do while serving, but because we love what we do, we serve. I really don't see why it should be so difficult that in 4 years, some persons I know longer than 4 years have not gotten a dollar from their severance package. And I believe this is really, really unbecoming of the finance ministry, the government, and those who are in charge.
It is heartrending to see how we treat our own people after they have given years of service. And the saddest part is there is nobody to speak with. Nobody. But there is another very, very sad case that I know of. There's a Corporal Dennis Creary. He used to work in Manchester and he used to work in Clarendon. At about age 52 or 53, he actually resigned the force. Why he resigned was that he had become diabetic and he was having some issues with standing because he was more of a patrol cop and a traffic cop. So because he couldn't take that sort of assignment, he was given a desk assignment, but he was still having some issues with his health and the diabetes. So he resigned. He resigned on the basis that, listen, he'll go home and sit down, protect his health, and he would get his monies, his pension, or whatever is due to him, so he could start, just taking care of his health going forward. And he did so with the full advice of his superiors. While at home, he tried to get his funds and he couldn't get it. And, for 2 years, he was struggling and he couldn't get the pension. Eventually, he had about 3 years after he resigned, he lost a leg at the knee and he was at home, more or less homebound. So he couldn't get to go back into their offices to check on his situation the way he wanted. And no matter how he wrote or phoned, nothing was happening. And because he didn't have anybody to going back and forth to the offices for him, because his wife and his kids were living overseas. So he was basically alone, although he had some family members, I think it's some niece or nephew or so, in the house, but they couldn't be doing what he should have done. And would you believe me that it was his family overseas who were supporting him. His wife and his children would send money to support him. And after that man's leg got cut off, he lived another 4 years. So in other words, he lived a total of 7 years without getting his pension, because his pension will be due at 60 at that time, because I don't think the rules had changed then, because this happened about 15 years ago. And the man died without receiving a penny from the Jamaican government for all his years of service. And he is not alone. This is typical of how the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and by extension, the Jamaican government treats people. And you know, there's a reason why. Let me tell you. You see, in government agencies, what I've come to realize is that there are no productivity standards. All one has to do in order to fix this, is to ensure that people become productive and that their salary depends on their capacity to do the job, to get things done. Because in the current state of things, whether you sort out 1 document for anybody or 0 documents or 10,000, your salary remains the same. So there is no incentive to do anything, because whether you do anything or help one police to get his pension or one ex-government worker to get the pension, you're going to get your salary on time every single month. Why would you want to get up and go find work do when you don't have to do any work? What needs to happen is that the government would need to set productivity standards. In other words, you have to know that X number of documents come in. You have to be able to prove that you have handled X amount of paperwork or X amount of files over what period of time for the month, based on what comes in, and everybody will be assigned to a certain amount of duties. And then everybody at the end of the month, you will check how many files they dealt with, how many cases they dealt with, and depends on who dealt with the cases are enough to keep productivity standards high, you get paid according to that. In Jamaica today, you don't have to pick up a straw. You do not have to answer a phone call. You do not have to open a single file unless somebody is standing in front of you. And if that person, you can tell them anything. Don't give them a name. Don't tell them nothing. Just give them bull manure and turn them away from your desk, and you still get your full salary. Now, let me ask you something. Does any of you, viewers and subscribers, think that Commissioner Anderson, who resigned last week, do you think that at the end of April, he will not be getting any money? You can bet your bottom dollar that he'll be getting every single cent that is due to him. Why? This is how the system works. The few bigwigs up top get all the benefits, all the privileges, look after themselves, and the ordinary little men among the lower ranks are not looked after, are not even seen as human beings at all. Now, things like these have got to stop. Why do you guys think they tell a man to submit all his documents 6 months before resignation? They do that because they want to ensure that they have a 6 months window to prepare everything for you, so that by the time you are ready to leave, everything would have been done so you could get it at least on the day when you are leaving. That was the reason why the 6 months window was given before resignation. But somehow the spirit of that law, or the spirit of those rules, were lost over time, and it was just something where you do just because, not for any reason, but just there, it is just something that people does. Because it bore no relevance to whether you're gonna ever get money, yes or no. No country can run like that. No country can run like that. And that's what's happening. Because I do not think that the government or any of these places are deliberately trying to prevent people from getting what they are supposed to get. They are simply not receiving the benefits to which they are entitled because management does not care about production. Therefore, the system being left to just run on its own without any safeguards or checks and balances, that is where things go haywire. And if we want a better country, this has got to stop. I'm only hoping that somebody in high places will see this video, realize what's going on, and get it fixed. In the meantime, I would like to prepare a list of all the persons who are being hurt or who have been caught up in situations like this and cannot get help and need to hear their situation, so I can prepare a list to take in to the government. So anybody with situations like these, please let me know. I'm on your side. I'm on your team. I need to deal with this. So guys, like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.